So 5 months ago, I produced a video here on this channel talking about the other companies that I'm looking forward to starting since leaving my previous company. And this is an update on one of those companies, which is launching next week on December 4th. And that's going to be our next gun industry company, picking up where we left off, a lot of the projects that, and a lot of the things that I've wanted to do that I haven't been able to do. So I want to show you guys, kind of walk you through our sort of how we've been launching this company and sort of the environment that we've been working in. We've been very scrappy with this startup, doing everything out of my house. So when we brought some folks in, we took the couches out, we added all these tables, we set up our desks, and we've all been working out of my house for the last 6 months, getting this new company and the clothing company ready as well, so that we can launch by the end of this year. So this is one of my little areas that I work, and we've got Chris, who's our nylon developer. He's doing patterning for different nylon materials, and we're making all sorts of prototypes, which has been super fun, and we're gonna show you guys where we're making those. Brantley's over here doing all kinds of interesting product development things when he's not running around and destroying people at shooting matches. He's the one who's been responsible for the rifle rail design, which we'll look at a little bit in this video, but there'll be more of that when the company launches. Then Glover, the marketing director, is handling a lot of website stuff right now because we're using Shopify for this company. Actually, we're going to use it for both companies, but just building an entire website with around 20 product listings plus all the necessary privacy policies, you know, mission statements and things like that. It's just a lot of content to develop, so he's helping us. And of course, the guy holding the camera, Jacob. He's responsible for the videos, the photos, the graphics, and all the things that you see, the packaging, which is super cool. Modern Warfare 2 inspired, the good one, the original. And then this over here, I've been doing some fun stuff today. I've been editing product videos. So very similar to the previous company, we're gonna have product videos for every product. And so I've been going through getting those all set up with the B-roll footage, finding all of that. Ultimately, it's gonna go to Jacob for final color grade, sound, music. He's the one who's been finding all the music. And, but I've been sort of getting it ready for him because he's got a lot on his plate, getting all the assets ready for the website. And it's kind of fun. It's kind of fun to go back in here and edit. It's been a long time since I've done that. I've edited, you know, a few of the videos on this channel recently, but it's just kind of fun to do that in between all of the other things. And so this has been my main setup for the last 6 months. And where I, you know, play Arc Raiders, super fun, hence the microphone for yelling at people. And so yeah, this is the setup. This is the main office area. But let's go check out our makeshift photo studio because it's pretty interesting. So these are reference samples of clothing that I brought over from my old remote office because I consolidated to this one location. And this is all reference stuff for the clothing company, but that gets its own video. So this originally was the loft. This is where I used to game and used to hang out a lot. And then as we've kind of been working out of the house, I just don't really come up here anymore. But we've converted it into a makeshift little photo setup. Or I should say little, it's actually kind of big. But we have this large piece of paper setup. We can roll out black paper, which we were using. We were doing some photos last week. Jesse came out. You know, you've seen him in one of the other videos, a military guy. He came out to be a model for some photos because, you know, he looks the part. I don't. I'm still skinny, working on that. So we rolled down the black paper, and Jacob's been doing a lot of experimentation with photography, taking photos of gun parts and gun accessories against black backgrounds is very difficult. It looks really cool when you do it right and you have a good finished result on a website, but there's a reason a lot of people do white. It's a whole lot easier to take product photography. It shows the product really well, but I really wanted to do a darker website. I mean, so many people use dark mode, so why not design a website around dark mode in mind? And we even have cats that are dark mode. What up? This is Skitters, and she is naturally dark mode. Aren't you? She's so cute. So yeah, we have cats and animals running all around. So so we've been doing all the photos. So we did all the photos of wearing the kit and the gear with Jesse. And today, Jacob's been doing all the standalone product photos of the slings and some of the other products. So we have a ton of gear up here and guns and like stuff. And so I was up here last week just like building out plate carriers, building out kit, and Jacob's taking the photos, and we're doing it all from my loft, which is super fun. Again, also removing the couch, removing normal furniture, getting it out of the way, putting it in storage so that we have room to work. And eventually, when we move into the new facility, we'll have dedicated photo setups on the floor because it's a very large space, and we'll be able to take photos whenever we want with controlled lighting, and that's going to be super convenient. But for now, we're doing it from here until at least February, and it works pretty well. All right, so this is my garage gym, and yeah, believe it or not, I do work out, although I don't sleep and eat enough. But I used to have a lot more sort of gym stuff, Stairmaster, some other things, and again, to make room for all of the prototyping and lab stuff we want to do, we started moving equipment out and we brought other equipment in. So we have this lovely Juki sewing machine that Chris and even Brantley have been using to sew up various prototypes, slings, chest rigs, belts. They've been able to make a lot of stuff off of this machine. So that's been super great to have this in here. And then we also added this Thunder laser. This has a 3x4 bed, I think, of available lasering space. It's not a true 4x8, although the machine's pretty large. And this is actually kind of a fun story because when we had this on order, there was like a couple month lead time. And the plan was we had a building we were looking at moving into, and we were gonna delay shipment of this. The company was being really kind to us and said, yeah, we'll work around your schedule based on this new building you're trying to get into. And then that building fell through. The owner didn't actually want to rent the building, even though he was trying to rent the building. He just decided, like, after stringing us along for like 3 or 4 months. But before that, I kind of had this gut feeling of like, hey, I think we just need to get the laser now. Like, we need to start doing work now. We'll put it in my garage. We'll move it as soon as we get into a building. We got the machine, and within a few weeks, we found out the building fell through, and we were like, okay, that was the right call. We've been able to use the laser ever since, making so many products like the belt and a bunch of other ones. So while it wasn't like the optimal plan and what we would have liked to have happen, the gut comes through. So we have this cool laser in here, and the guys have been using it, venting to the outside. It does kind of smell sometimes, but it's not as bad as drinking rain all the time, probably. And so they've been working on all kinds of interesting products that you guys have already seen. One product that Brantley's been working on, and we're working with a machine shop up north who's actually doing the work, because we obviously don't have the equipment to do this, is this rifle rail. And I'm not going to get into it too much, but we're actually going to the range tomorrow to shoot this and test it for the first time, see how long it takes to cool, do some other things with it. And we're doing this in the midst of launching the company next week and getting the website ready, but we still have to keep testing products, innovating products. Chris and Brantley are going to make a few other products this week while we're getting ready for the launch. And that's good because the show must go on. A fun fact about this rail, though, is it has a 1.65 inch diameter inside that's open. So any 1.5 inch suppressor can fit inside. And because it's a direct thread for accessories, you don't punch through and hit the suppressor, unlike on like an M-LOK rail. So you can build like an OG Honey Badger or something. So this will be early next year. We're going to go shoot that and test that. Another fun thing that we've been doing is experimenting with weird materials, weird non-Berry compliant materials. So Berry compliance is a mandate across the government that restricts and requires that government entities, the military, not as so much law enforcement, but generally the military, have to buy equipment that is made in the USA and more specifically is made with US material. Now that's obviously good for some of the industry, so that folks in Asia aren't coming in and eating everyone's lunch and selling to the military. But the problem with some of that mandate is there's a lot of really cool technology and materials over in Asia that are getting made in countries like Taiwan and Japan. And I just was in New York City last week and I visited an office for a company in Japan. They have some extremely cool materials. But because of Berry compliance, a lot of companies in this industry, in the gun industry specifically, don't experiment with those materials in creating the best product. They have to stick to government regulations. They make plate carriers in these materials. They make pouches in these materials. And then when those are sold to civilians, well, you're just getting the same stuff the government is, versus maybe getting higher quality products made with better technology. which is something we're going to be looking into for some of our civilian consumer products, because we're not chasing government contracts with every single product, and we don't have to adhere to Berry compliance. We're still going to make sure all the manufacturing is done in the US, but if there is a superior material that offers something we're looking for, some technical benefit, and it's made by an allied country, so we're not going to China and getting stuff, but if it's made in Japan, in Taiwan, in some European country that isn't overrun by migrants, potentially, then we'll bring that material in and possibly make some even superior, better products than what's available that's being required by the government. So we're experimenting with those already. We haven't even launched, but we're playing around with those. And we're also learning more about materials with the clothing company, going to New York City and meeting with people, because they don't have all these regulations they have to adhere to. They're able to use whatever they want to make fashionable clothing. And then we see that, and I'm like, that would be really cool for a bag. That'd be really interesting for a low-vis plate carrier. This would be really interesting for this integrated thing with this, product. I'm not gonna get into it too much. So we've been learning a lot. I'll just leave it at that. So we have a bunch of guns from BCM. Sons of Liberty sent me a few guns recently. I've got this really cool Assassin-y bolt gun. I shouldn't say Assassin-y. A compact concealable bolt gun from B4 Armory, but very select products that we have so that we could be more purposeful when we take training trips, when we go to the range. And the big goal and the big initiative for the new company is we're not going out there and buying a ton of retro guns. We're not going out there and buying a bunch of budget guns. We're trying to really focus on sort of the next level technology, what's on the horizon, what's going to become commonplace, and working with companies getting prototypes. Like that is the objective with this new company, is focusing on innovation. We're not going to just have a YouTube channel where we're trying to do videos on every gun that exists and cheap guns and retro guns. We're not doing that at all. I mean, if I maybe do a video with something on my channel, that might be one thing, but this new company is very forward-facing, tip of the spear stuff. We're not going to be messing around with budget gear. And I know that upsets some of you, but we have a mission, and we are going to focus on our mission. So we have various items that have been very helpful so far in the production of content and product testing, and also working with some of the companies that have been super kind over the last few months. So that is the Prototype Gym Lab, which is super fun, and I'm really thankful I had this space available, because it is enough space for us to do all these things. And Brantley over here has a 3D printer that I don't know what it's printing, but we've made all kinds of various little things and gadgets, things for the belt project, things for just all kinds of things, but we'll leave it at that. We even printed a rail on this, the prototype of that rail on this machine to kind of get the geometry right. So let's check out the shipping stuff. One more thing I forgot to mention is, in the midst of all these different things that are happening, we are sponsoring our first competition, and we haven't even launched yet. So we'll have a bunch of banners at PCSL Nationals. We have a whole stage there, and they've already been sent over to Max. And since we've run into some delays on a few products, I reached out to Paul at BCM and said, hey, could I get some uppers to put on the prize table that are in our, signature color with our logo? He said, absolutely, and hooked us up. And so we're sending 5 of these, which is pretty rad. 14.5 uppers, Mark IIs with, I don't know which barrel profile this is. It looks like one of the good ones over there for the prize table, which is super cool. And I really appreciate Paul making this happen for us so fast, because that match is happening in 2 weeks. So we're gonna send those out tomorrow to Max, and then those will go on the prize table. So that's super fun, but let's check out the shipping now. So as soon as we found out that the building we were going to move into fell through, the contingency plan was, okay, we're gonna launch the company from my house. So this is another garage. It's a detached garage from the house. And so we took all of our other stuff, like every American has in their garage, that all went to a storage unit, and we made room for a full shipping station and shipping situation. So we have a shipping address in Franklin that we're gonna be using, a business address, but we're gonna do all the operations out of here until about February. We're currently looking into moving into a building. It's a very large building. It's 35,000 square feet. It might actually end up being 44,000 square feet. It's way more room than we need, but there's a lot of reasons for that, which I will share in the upcoming video, why we want to move into a big space because of what we're projecting and some of the activity that we want to get involved in. So around in February, all of this will get moved to that building space, Lord willing, provided like all the negotiations and contracts and all that, commercial real estate stuff goes through. But then all this will go over there, and there's a few other products that we'll start receiving then because they're very large and we can't accommodate those here. This is actually kind of fun. This is an old streaming computer. This was for my dual stream setup back in the Botkin Twitch days. So I grabbed this from upstairs, repurposed this. It's very overpowered for a shipping station. So that's what we're using. But yeah, when I powered this up, logged in, I saw all my old OBS files and all my old Twitch stuff. It was very fun and interesting. But have a different login now for shipping. It's boring and vanilla. We will have swag at launch. So some stickers. This is one of a couple in multicam. And that's one thing that we're doing with launch that normally I'm not a huge fan of with swag, because I like legitimate products like slings and chest rigs and plate carriers and optics and products that serve a direct purpose. And even with T-Rex, when I first started it, I didn't sell swag for a few years because I didn't care about it. I wanted to make product, I wanted to make holsters, I wanted to make life-saving product. But this is a little different because many of you all have made your voices heard and said, we want swag, we want hats, we want shirts. So we've put a decent amount of capital into having swag available at launch. And we're not gonna have as many cool products available at launch because those are all in development. But what's cool is you guys will get to see everything that we're working on at launch. It won't all be available, but it will be there. You can see it. So what you're gonna see at launch on our website is we have a product page for every product in development. So we're showing prototypes. Everything is subject to change on those, especially. I'm sure some people will forget that and they'll see something and be like, that looks like crap. It's like, well, yes, it's a prototype. That's how prototypes work. But there's also gonna be a few products that are available. Now, unfortunately, not as many as I was hoping. Scheduling and different things happen in fourth quarter, all that. So we have 3 slings that I was hoping we'd have at launch. And right now it's looking like we'll only have 2. And we're not going to have as many of those 2 as I would have liked. We have started getting some in. We've been QCing them. They've been passing. I'm not going to show them too much, but this is a product ready to be purchased and put on a gun and used. We're going to have much more, hopefully, and that's all dependent on the manufacturer and working with them over this week and our QC process and getting those ready and ingested by next week. So that's going to be really fun. But you will get to see everything that we are working on. You can waitlist individual products, and then as we update, once those become available, you'll get an email, then you can order them. So we are launching the company without some of the products that I really wanted, sort of the MVP, you could say. But it is better to launch with some stuff now, especially since we're already 2 weeks off of my previous deadline, than it is to wait for perfection. That is something that too many companies and people do. That was also something that maybe happened a little bit too much at the old company. So we are going to send it with what we have and just understand that we don't have as much stuff as we would like, but everything is on the way. It is scheduled. We will get them in the near future. And there'll be a lot of stuff to consume on the website and look at and see when we do launch, and that's going to be fun. I've been going through the last 6 months the entire process of standing up another e-commerce based business. Obviously, I did this back 11 and a half years ago in 2013 using WordPress, WooCommerce, using Gmail, using PayPal, linking all those together. And I think I didn't have ShipStation. I was using stamps.com. So that was my tech stack, my ecosystem. And what I want to tell you guys, for those of you that have thought about starting your own business, it has never been easier to start a e-commerce based business from your garage. When I actually think it's, I was a little discouraged for 24 hours when I realized we were gonna have to launch from, a garage. But then I realized no, this is where, most of the really big successful companies, especially tech companies, that's how they get started. They get started in a garage, being scrappy, and then when they have enough revenue, interest in the business, customers, then they move to a more suitable location to continue business operations. So I actually am really happy that we're starting in the garage once again. even if it's just for a few months, because it is fun. It's interesting. It'll make for some interesting company history. We'll take a bunch of pictures, videos, and I hope it can also be an example to other folks who feel like they can't start a business unless they have a big industrial space. They can't start a business unless they have an official office downtown. Like, no, you can start a business in your garage, obviously pending stupid HOA stuff. But I know a bunch of people with businesses in garages. I have a friend who has a 7-figure business out of his garage, and he's shipping merchandise, he's storing merchandise, he's even doing some light manufacturing, and he's doing all of that in a garage that's a little bit bigger than this one. It's not a whole lot bigger. So it can be done. So I think that is cool that we get to do that once again. The clothing company, though, that's going to get launched from this big building we're looking at because we got to have space because clothes take up a lot of room. But when it comes to launching a company now, there's this really awesome tool that is now available that was not available when I launched T-Rex 12 years ago, and that is AI. I have been using AI so much for building and modifying the website. We've been using it for working between our different programs. So I'm not a tech guy. I'm not like this big IT nerd. So for me, setting up admin Microsoft accounts for multiple companies and coordinating them to an email help desk system, integrating that into Shopify, and then having Shopify talk to Cloudflare and having Cloudflare then talk to the email servers. I don't know any of that crap. And a lot of you guys probably don't either. But the nice thing with ChatGPT, if you register as a business, or probably Grok and some of the other AIs, is they can pull from so much information online that they can write out a whole plan for you on, go turn this thing on, turn this thing off, turn this thing off, turn this thing on. And I've just been following the directions and prompting, because you have to do some of that as well, to get the AI to tell me, hey, what do I need to do to make these things work or style these things on the website? And I didn't have that 12 years ago. I had to rely on other people for that. I wasn't able to do it myself. I wasn't able to use AI. But with the technology that exists today, you can absolutely start your own company without hiring a single programmer for light coding, light software stuff using AI. And I say light because you don't want to rely on AI for building an entire infrastructure. That's a lot of debates online about that, but for light stuff, it is really good. So if you're not using AI and you're running a small e-commerce business, you should be using AI, even if it's just for, sort of asking it, hey, I want to do this thing and I have these two softwares. Is there a way for them to talk to each other? It's going to go research the answer for you, and it's going to tell you exactly how to make it work. So I'll do another video on that in the future, maybe show you guys exactly like how I was making it work. But we've been using ChatGPT Business. So we have a business account. You get some unlocks with that to make some of these things happen for the company, and that has been great. We're not using AI for employee evals though, because that's gay. So product comes here, we get ready, we have it all, it ships, and that will be fun. So that's how we're launching this first company from my house. Being nice and scrappy. We're going to do this for a few months until we get into the new building, and we'll show you guys what that looks like as well. And next week, there will be a full video talking about what this company is about, what I'm doing different this time around, some of the operations that we are conducting right away. In fact, it's very ambitious, but very early that I'm super excited about. And so you guys can learn all about the company next week on December 4th when that video drops and when the website drops. And I look forward to seeing you all then.